Ugh. Journaling. So, this one's fucking brilliant. Also, stickers and bands. So necessary. This one is one that I've had over the past 3 months, which I've kind of worked through some limiting beliefs with. This is my current journal, which is really fun because I've been using it to not only write out my goals for this channel, but also script out what I want life to look like next year. This one is a miracle aligner. Right? You can all use a miracle every now and then. It's a guided journal, which is really rad. I'll link below to where you could get one. This is also a guided journal to help you speak up when you need to. We could all use that right now. This one is kind of like a journal, but also like it's like a travel vision board since I'm very rarely on the ground. So yeah, it's like a vision board. And this one's more of like an agenda meets vision meets like what I want life to look like, but also the shit I need to get done. So, long story short, your girl likes to journal, which brings us to today's video. Today we're gonna talk about journaling. If there was a song about journaling, it would be that song. Anyways, so the other day, my friend Becca, who by the way is an amazing woman in the music industry, she does marketing for music festivals and she also does PR. So I'm actually gonna link her below so you can check her out since I'm using her as an example. And if you're watching Becca, I hope it's okay that I use you as an example of. She tweeted the other day, I think with everything going on right now, I may actually start journaling. My brain would probably appreciate it. And then I tweeted, yes, love, do it. And her response was, I think I'm going to. If you have any tips and suggestions, would love to hear them. So you're in luck, Becca dear, because I do have tips and I also have suggestions, and that's what this entire video is about. This is a beginner's guide to journaling, and I've got this down to a science. So what I'm gonna go through are 3 tools you can use, and then 4 steps that you can use to have an actionable journaling practice that's super simple once you get the hang of it. And here's what it's gonna do. It's gonna allow you to clear out all the clutter you have in your brain, figure out what's going on in the present moment, then create a plan for the future that you could actually take steps on to make sure that you're achieving goals and desires and all the cool shit that you want and that you deserve. All right, cool. Let's get started. If we haven't met, my name's Erica. I'm a music journalist, a meditator, a manifester, lots of things that begin with M's, a mystic, and I'm here to help you create the limitless life of your fucking dreams by making things like wellness feel practical in every single area of your life, one video at a time. So if that sounds cool to you, and I got a feeling that it does, go ahead and hit subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so you can be informed every single time I create a video with you and your best life in mind. Okay, so before we dig into what you're gonna do, we're gonna dig into the tools you're gonna use to do it. So I've got 3 main tools I wanna talk about. So you got your brain dump, which sounds funny, and then you've got your self-coaching model, or TFAs as I call them, and then you've got something I call writing out the most beautiful version of your life. I'm gonna dig into each one. So the first one is the brain dump. Basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna set your cell phone timer to 5 minutes. You're gonna go to a fresh page on your journal and you're just gonna write out all the shit that's in your head, good, bad, ugly, in between. Get it out and onto paper. It's called a brain dump and it sounds gross because it kinda is, because there's nothing that's off limits. Put it on paper, you're gonna be able to see it from a high level view. The great thing about a brain dump is you can just get every single thing out of your head. And once you see it on paper, I promise you're gonna be like, oh, that seemed a lot scarier when I was like thinking about it at 3 a.m. last night when I couldn't sleep. And now it's just like a little sentence on your paper. So it's no longer as huge of a deal. It's something that you can handle, it's something that you can see. It's no longer a phantom in your brain ruining your fucking day. It's on paper. So the first thing you're gonna do is a 5-minute brain dump. Okay. So after you do your brain dump, you're gonna use the self-coaching model. Now, the self-coaching model is basically CTFAR. So you've got your circumstance, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and your results. Your circumstance is what the current situation you're in is. It's a factual thing. You could prove it in the court of law. I've talked about this in previous videos, and in this cheat sheet that I'm sharing, you'll be able to actually see a chart that shows you. I'll probably put a chart in this video, obviously, so that you know what I'm talking about. But you got your circumstance, then you've got your thoughts. That's like a 1-sentence line about what's going on in your brain, what the thinker is saying in your head about the circumstance. It doesn't have to be nice. It doesn't have to be you know, it doesn't have to make sense. It's whatever you're thinking about the circumstance. It's just the truth about what you're thinking about it. Then you've got your feelings. That's a one word that dictates exactly how you feel. So whether it's sad, angry, upset, excited, that's what you put there. Just one word. Because I know we can like fall into like a bunch of feelings and start talking about, you know, I was excited, but then I was overwhelmed. Just like, no, just one. What's the one dominant feeling that you have? What's that physical reaction that you're having to that thought about that circumstance? After your feelings, you're going to have an action. Now your action is either what you've done or what you could do in reaction to those thoughts and feelings. So let's say that your circumstance is that you have a job. That's it. You have a job. And so your thoughts about it is, I'd really like to do my own thing, and I'd like to have my own business, and I don't like having a job. Okay? Your feeling might be angry. So your action might be to slack off at work because you have this big dream of what you really want to do, and this just ain't it, homie. So you slack off at work. Then your R line is the result. So if you probably see where this is going. If you slack off at work, the result is that you probably aren't going to do well, and you might even risk losing your job, which could really fuck up your circumstances on another level. So basically, your circumstance is factual, then you got your thoughts, feelings, and actions that kind of go underneath the circumstance, and the result is what you're doing in that middle area, those TFAs. That's what it's going to cause. So keep that in mind, keep that in your pocket. We're going to use that when we start to talk about how to use this for journaling, okay? TFA. Okay, so the next part is the part that I think is the most fun. It's your most beautiful life. I got this idea from Glennon Doyle, who wrote about it in her book Untamed, and I'm just going to read a quote from this piece of paper because it's really good. So she shares, conjure up the truest, most beautiful life, relationship, community, world you can imagine, write it down. Now read what you've written and consider that your imaginings are not a pipe dream. Your imaginings are your marching orders, all right? So it could be a little scary and a little daunting to really take the time, take out a fresh piece of paper, and just like fill out that page with what you want your life to look like. What kind of person do you want to be with if you're thinking about a relationship? What kind of job do you want to have? Or what kind of business do you want to start? What kind of community do you want to build? What kind of people do you want to be surrounded by? What kind of place do you want to live? Really put it out there, even if you're thinking, oh, well, that can't possibly happen for me. That feels crazy. That feels like a pipe dream. Like I can't do that. Like I think a lot of times we get really scared because like if we're like, oh my God, if I say it out loud, then I'm gonna know. Like we're like afraid to tell ourselves what we really want because then it's like you can't go back, which is the whole point of doing this exercise. Now you have this vision of what you actually truly want, which like once you know, it's over for these hoes, as the kids would say. Okay, now you have your toolbox. Let's get to work. This is how you're gonna use those 3 tools I just talked about to create a journaling practice from scratch that's gonna change your life. All right, so step 1, turn to a fresh page. Put your phone on 5-minute timer. For 5 minutes, take everything that's going on in this brain of yours, that big, beautiful brain of yours, and write it down on the page. Nothing is off limits. It doesn't even have to be cohesive. It doesn't need to be a narrative of like, so yesterday Tommy said that. No, just words. Throw it on there. Anything, just like splatter it on there for 5 minutes. No holds, no limits. Put it on the paper for 5 minutes. Everything that's stressing you out, everything that's in your head, 5 minutes on the page, on a piece of paper. Okay, step 2. You're gonna do a TFA using one of the things, or maybe a few things depending on how much time you have, but one of the things that you can think of that you've decided from your brain dump that you're like, I wanna deal with this right now. This is a big category, this is a big issue, I'm gonna deal with it. And you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna put that thing that's happening in the C circumstance line. That means that you're gonna take away any feelings and thoughts about it. So like, if your thing that was bothering you is like, so-and-so's pissing me off at my job, you don't write so-and-so's pissing me off at my job in the circumstance line. You put in the circumstance line, I work with Ben. I used to work with somebody named Ben. I'm not talking about him. Don't Google that. But you just put that. Like you don't need to put anything emotional or any thoughts or feelings around it. You just put that person's name. Put whatever you could like prove in a court of law that's not like a feeling or something that you have about it. Or if you want to be specific, you're like, I was in a meeting and so-and-so interrupted me. Like if that really happened, then you can put that in the circumstance line, but it can't be a feeling about something that happened. It has to be an actual circumstance. Then after you put that circumstance, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna fill out the rest of your model. So that T, F, A, R. And you're gonna look at that and you're like, okay, that is what's happening in the present moment. That is how I'm thinking, that's how I'm feeling, this is how I'm acting because of it, and this is the result that is going to happen because of the way that I'm acting in that middle of the model, those thoughts, those feelings, and those actions, okay? And you decide whether or not what you're doing is going to create a reality that you want. More than likely, because it was in that brain dump, it was making you anxious, the current result ain't like where it's at, chief. You don't want that. Next step is going to help you get closer to what you actually want. So that's when you go into step 3, turn to another fresh page, and you write out your most beautiful life. Like, this is where you think about the future. So if we're talking about your job, you can write out, I work in a place where everyone respects me, everyone is thoughtful of my time and space, everyone loves working with me. Or if you want to go and do your own thing, you're like, I have my own business, I love working for myself, I get to travel around the world. Like, put whatever you want in it and like create that reality. That is your version of reality that you want. No one can tell you what's wrong. It's like Glennon said, these are your marching orders. This is not a pipe dream. Your imagination is telling you what is possible for you. Like, do not ignore that. Put that out there. All right, now that you have your beautiful life version, and the reason that you put that beautiful life after your first TFA and after your brain dump is because that first TFA and that brain dump give you a lot of contrast, right? They tell you what you don't want. And it's a really great place to start with what you do want, because if you don't want to work with people that are interrupting you, or if you feel like your job is causing you stress, you do know that you have to create another reality, or you would prefer a version of life where that wasn't happening. So then you can start to write about that and what that would look like and feel like and how excited you would be about it, right? So that's why you do those 2 steps before the most beautiful version. Now here's the part that I think is really, really important and foundational if you want this practice to actually change anything. After you go to the most beautiful life page, you turn it, fresh page, take like a line from there or take like a summary of what you just said, and you put that in the result line of your fresh new model. So you're gonna write your CTFAR, and in the result line, you write down the circumstance that you want to create or the result that you want to create, all right? So in the result line, you're like, I have a job that I love. And then you work backwards. So you start with, I have a job that I love, right? So what do you have to do? How do you have to think, feel, and act to create that result? Like, you have to act in a way where that's already done, or you have to start looking out for new opportunities, or you have to change the way that you're working with people, or maybe have a meeting to discuss something. Write out the actions that you can take that could actually create the result of having the job that you want, all right? Then you go to your thoughts and your feelings. So what feeling do you have when you think about having the job that you want? It's probably not stressed or anxious. It's probably something like excited, thrilled. Like, put that in the feeling line. Then you go to the thought line and you're saying, what thought do I have to feel excited and thrilled and fulfilled at my job? And it's probably something closer to the lines of, no matter where I work, I know that I can share my value and that I'm a great person and that I can always do a great job. Or it's, I have this job right now and that's fine because I know that I'm working towards having my own business and career. Or it is, I know that I can take this time during my life and career to really learn more about interpersonal relationships and becoming a better employee and worker, and this is the perfect place to do it. So that's what you would put in your thought line, because that's what's going to change, you know, the feelings that you have. And then you go back to the circumstance, which is like, I have a job, or something very, you know, just truthful, very factual, and you realize it doesn't matter, because you can create whatever result you want regardless of the circumstance. And you were able to fill out that R result line because you took the time to go through this process and figure out what you want instead of focusing on what you don't want. Cool, right? Yeah, I thought so. All right, there you have it. 4 actionable steps you can use to create a journaling practice, and of course 3 tools that you could use just in general in life, but that'll make practice a lot easier. Like I mentioned, I do have a cheat sheet I created to give you all the details and all the tools that you can take with you, so I will add that link below. If you haven't seen any other videos on my channel, go ahead and check out my playlist on meditation. I'll link that above. I also have some videos on manifestation. So yeah, just hang out, get comfortable, watch some videos, and if you haven't subscribed, of course, hit the bell notification icon, of course. Follow me on Instagram so we can connect there. I would love that. I'll make sure that I put both channels below. And thank you so much for joining me. As you know, I share videos every week, so I will be back next week. And I have something really exciting to share. Once I hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to be announcing a really cool project where we can all get involved in this community of, you know, sharing wellness and mindfulness and really creating the world that we want to see. be and that we want to exist, that should exist, because we can all make it happen, y'all. Thanks again for joining me. I will talk to you soon. I'm Erica. That was my video. You look cute today. I'll see you next time.